So, I wanted to talk a little bit about beauty, you know. So, here in the US, I have been called pretty a lot. And first, when it happened, I was a little disbelieving. And that's because in India, I never got the compliment that I was pretty or beautiful. Um, I do remember that when I was younger, I got a lot of compliments, positive attention for my hair because it was silky and straight and smooth and all that. And so I knew that was sort of a legit compliment. And I spent a year in Egypt when I was 23, 24. And there also, I got a lot of positive attention for my hair. And the thing is that I think a lot of Egyptian women also probably have really good lustrous hair. But you can't really see it because after a certain age, I noticed that many women would wear a headscarf or a hijab, so you couldn't really see their hair. So I got a lot of positive attention, got compliments for my hair. And I also got a lot of comments about my figure because I'm very skinny. And it's funny because I think at least quite a few Egyptian guys mentioned that, oh, we Egyptian men, we like fat women. But almost everyone commented on how thin I was, and not like in a critical way, but like, wow, you're so thin. Anyway. But when I came here to the US about 15 years ago, I started to get that pretty, you're pretty. And of course, in the beginning, I thought people are just being polite. But now, after all these years, I have a little bit of an understanding of that. And I think part of it is because of my skin. I have a tan complexion. And in the West, I think people just like a tan. And I'm also fairly slender. And that's also something that is coveted in many parts of the world, the Western world. A woman who's thin always gets positive attention. And of course, the hair, which is now it's actually gray and dry, but people still notice it. So, what this makes me think is that beauty is such a cultural construct. What we consider beautiful in one place, it's like ordinary in another place. And I'm also reminded of a friend of mine. He is from Kashmir, where I imagine most people have a fair skinned, light eyed, and sharp features. So, what my friend said was we were watching this movie with Hrithik Roshan, who's this Bollywood hero, really gorgeous guy. If he walks on the streets of Mumbai, there's no way he would not get attention. Tall, awesome figure, awesome physique, and a great dancer, light eyes, curly hair, sharp features, really good looking guy. But what my friend said was that, you know, if this guy, if Hrithik Roshan was in one of these towns in Kashmir, nobody wouldn't give him a second look because there's so many guys who look like that. So it really puts things in perspective, right? About what we think is good looking or attractive. Well, good looking. Let's not talk about attractive yet. I'll talk about that later. But what is good looks? Physical appearance. It is so relative. It has to do with where you are, what part of the world you are, what culture you are in, and all of that, right? And yet, there is something I feel that goes beyond physical appearance, right? And when you see someone in a Facebook photograph or Instagram, obviously what you see is the picture. What you see is their physical appearance most of the time. But when you interact with a person, there's some other things that come to the fore, kind of come through the physical appearance, and then those are the things that strike you, right? It could be anything. It could be a sort of a natural sexiness, it could be a sort of energy that you're really attracted to. It could be a lot of kindness, a lot of warmth, curiosity, all of that. And I think after a point, these qualities they start taking center stage, and then they can either make you look beautiful or not. Like they can really highlight your physical features and your physical appearance in a good way. So, for instance, I think of my mom. My mom, whenever I think of my mother's skin, the word that comes to my mind is golden. My mom has this gorgeously gold, lustrous complexion. And my mom is tall, and she used to be slender at some point, but her weight fluctuates quite a bit. So sometimes she is quite not skinny, but on the thinner side, her frame. And yet, I am positive that my mom wouldn't really pass as beautiful in India. But here in the US, There are people who have seen my mom and they've told me, "Oh, your mother's so beautiful." And when I tell this to mummy, she's like, "Ah, really?" She doesn't believe me because it's likely that she doesn't fit in the Indian parameters of beauty. And so it's frankly, she's very skeptical when somebody tells her she's beautiful. But my mother, she's naturally a very warm person. She's very curious about the world, people, culture, and she has a lot of energy, a lot of enthusiasm for life, reading books and music and films and travel. And so even at her age, my mom is in her late 60s, she has such a joy de vivre, such a sense of life and living, that I feel that's what strikes people when they meet her. And she's very warm. And now, over the past so many years, she's also very affectionate. So she hugs very freely, like she hugs my friends. And so, naturally, when you see a person like that, when you interact with a person like that, what comes across is not so much their physical appearance, but their inner energy, their vibe. And that particular inner energy then goes back and makes you look beautiful, makes you look attractive in a very, sometimes not always explicable way. So, and that particular energy, that particular vibe is, I think, what transcends culture, transcends conditioning. So when you meet a person, when you interact with a person like this who may not be beautiful as per your particular cultural parameters, but whatever they embody, whatever their vibe is, that comes through most of the time, I would imagine, if a person is being open and honest. And then it kind of showcases their physical appearance a whole nother way. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that beauty, well, the word it's a big word, but a lot of it is cultural conditioning, what we are used to, what we are habituated to. But what enhances beauty, what makes it so real and grounded, is your energy, your vibe, which transcends culture, transcends conditioning, and which is something that we relate to at a very basic fundamental level. And which is why I'm somebody like my mom, who I really don't know if anybody would think her beautiful in India, but she's always, to me, seemed really warm, bright, radiant, and yeah, beautiful. Yeah, absolutely beautiful.